Hello and welcome to another 9-minute Bible study. Our starting point is the book of Matthew chapter 7 verse 25. The book of Matthew chapter 7 verse 25. Actually, let's read verse 24 first. Therefore, whosoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock. And the rains descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. Amen. In our last lesson, we looked at the principle of the rock. The rock is the foundation of the believer, the foundation of the church. And the foundation is this truth: Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. Now here we have Jesus at the end of the Sermon on the Mount. He is saying, those who hear these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock. Now what we see here is the foundation, Jesus, the Christ, the Son of the living God, the foundation of the life of the believer, the foundation of the church. And the rains descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew. Let's call this the troubles of life, because each and every one of us will experience these problems, be they problems in our personal lives, or problems in the world around us, or a direct attack of the devil. And each of us will face an attack of this sort, be it a personal attack, be it attack through the world and system, or an attack by the devil. This is going to happen. We are not exempted from the trials of life. We aren't. But what does Jesus say? These trials, the rain, the flood, the wind came and beat upon that house. Might as well say hurricane force storm. It beats upon the house and it fell not. The opposite, it stood. Why did the house stand? Because it was built on a rock. Now, let's start with personal life here. Those who build their personal lives on the teaching that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of the living God, if this is the foundation of our life, then we are going to stand in the face of every storm that comes our way. Be it things in our personal life, or things in the world, or things, a satanic attack. We will be able to survive. Now let's apply this to the church. The church's foundation must be Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. Now when the church faces the same types of attack, be it internal attacks against the church, external attacks against the church, or the powers of darkness, the church will be able to stand. Why? Because we are built on the correct foundation. The correct foundation being Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. Let's go ahead and look at verse 26. And everyone that hears my sayings of mine and does them not shall be likened unto a foolish man which built his house upon the sand. The sand is the opposite of a rock. If you build your house on sand, it will not survive. What is sand? Sand is any philosophy that is not Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. It could be distorted teachings. It could be false religions. It could be philosophies of this world. This is not the foundation we are to use to build either our lives or to build the church. Verse 27, and the rains descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew. The same problems that hit the good house, it's going to hit the bad foundation house. There's one big difference, however. The wind, the rain, the floods beat upon the house, and it fell. Why did it fall? Because it was not built on the proper foundation. It was built on something else, be it personality, be it the philosophy of the world, be it false and distorted teaching, false religions. When something is built on anything except the gospel of Jesus Christ, that house is going to fall. And great was the fall of it. If you look through the history of the last 30 years or so, when you see ministries fall, why was it? Usually they were built on personality, or they were built on a premise that sin was acceptable. What happens when the storm hit those ministries? They collapsed and fell. That's why the church must be built on the proper foundation. Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. If the church is built on Jesus, it will stand every storm that comes our way. Now follow with me for a moment. Let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians, and let's look at chapter 3. 1 Corinthians chapter 3. I want us to look at verse 11. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 11. It says, "For other foundation can no man lay than that is laid, which is Jesus Christ." Now, by this point, the Apostle Paul is a professional church builder. In his first missionary journey, he built churches in the Galatia region. In the second journey, he built them in Greece and Macedonia, and yes, in Corinth. So he knows a thing or two about building churches. And what does he say? "For other foundation can no man lay than that is laid, which is Jesus Christ." Once again, we see the foundation of the church being Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. This is the foundation that we are to use in building our lives. This is the foundation we need to use in building the church. And when we use this foundation, we will be successful because the church would be built on the correct and the proper foundation. Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. And we'll pick up with this in our next lesson.